What can I do for you?
Have you made a decision on who you're going to give the ball for the first snap quarterback-wise? You said it was close Friday, but you hadn't come to a decision yet. Have you picked?
Yeah, we know who's going to be out there first, but it doesn't help us to tell you.
Okay, so you said Friday that you were going to make that decision based on how guys were running those 20 snaps, 20
Correct.
drives, making their own decisions. How much separation was created in the last 4 days?
It was close. The game week prep really didn't play into it. It was more about coming out and just both of them have worked really hard this week. We're excited to see the preparation come, out on the field and how it plays into scoring drives or not. But fall camp was close. There's definitely a guy that had a better completion rate, a better touchdown rate than the other guy, and that's where we're at.
You said Friday sounded like you were only promising the opening series, and then after that, both guys would play and then go from there. Is that still a plan?
Yeah, you got to be careful about length of drives, and you want to give a guy a chance to be in a flow. I don't think being a robot where this series or this many plays. You want to get them both in there, preferably in the first quarter, if possible. And again, it's based on if you have two one-play drives, that's a little different than if you have a 14-play drive and a 10-play drive. You know what I mean? So. Going to have to see how the game goes, and then after that, just evaluate where we're at the half and who's moving the ball better, how we're playing, and go with it.
How different do you think the running game will look with the new offense versus what you've done last year?
It'll look different. There's some plays that are very similar, and there's some plays that aren't. So, I think how he runs perimeter run plays and how we did it last year. Jacoby Brissett was a little bit different than these two guys as far as his running skills, and so that plays into it a little bit too.
When and how did you tell your starting quarterback that he would get the first snap, and how was
I met with them both.
reaction?
Yeah.
What day?
I don't know. Doesn't matter. I met with them both.
Defensive line for NC State, offensive line for William & Mary. That seems like a solid matchup. How interested are you to see that?
Say that again.
The defensive line for State, the offensive line for William & Mary. That seems like to be the matchup of the game.
There's a lot of good experience for them on offense, period, really. They've got a lot of guys that were all conference players on that side of the ball coming back. But I think, you're matching experience with experience, which is what you're saying, and I think that's very true. For us to play the way we want to on either side of the ball, the linemen have to play really well.
Connor and Kyle, did anything change there, or is it still going to be both guys we're seeing action?
You will see them both. It's been fun to watch that. It's been really, really tight. And so I think both of them, again, you want to see how game day affects them, but they've done a nice job. They've taken a lot of kicks, and they both have good distance. So that's going to be definitely one that we get into the game and see how they're looking in pregame, too.
Is one of them, have you decided on which one will take the first kick, or is that going to be a game situation?
No, I've decided.
You going to reveal that?
Yeah. What I talk about the team isn't necessarily what I have to talk to you about, right?
Just I had to ask.
I understand.
One of the things you talked with the team about last year was winning those games at Wake Forest and Boston College and ending those two particular streaks. I'm curious, have you talked at all specifically to them about being better at home?
Yes, we have. We've talked a lot about it.
At that same type of level, that same kind of emphasis that you made it a point last year with them?
We have, to take the next step as a program, one, you have to be a team that doesn't let people come in your stadium and play well. And you may not win every one of them, but you got to play great when you're at home. And then knocking off teams that we haven't beaten. We're continuing to talk about closing gaps in our league. And there's 3 teams that I haven't beaten since I've been in the Atlantic, and we talk about it. There's no doubt.
I have a philosophical question for you. Can you change who you are?
Me?
Anyone.
Like, the saying, you are what you are, right? Can you change what you are? So for NC State, for example, not to spoil my own writing here, but
trying to understand your angle.
Yeah.
I'm going to steal your story, Joe.
What I'm saying to you is NC State, since it joined the ACC, has a winning percent in 1953 as a program, has a winning percentage of 51%, right? So history says NC State is average in football.
Yeah.
So either you are what you are, or can you change what you are?
Absolutely.
Do you believe that you can change what you are?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can elevate a program, and I think you can elevate a person. I've got a lot of guys on our team that we've done that with. That's what development is. There's a lot of programs across the country you can look at and say there's proof. Look at Baylor did, look at Kansas State did. There's programs that were nothing until they turned it around, and then they built on that. So that's what we're trying to do now.
Is there anyone specific that you have talked to about that? Like, do you have coaching mentors who have done similar things that you seek out advice in that respect?
Yeah, I think Hayden Fry's coaching tree, if you look at all the really good coaches that were either played for Hayden, Brett Bielema was one, Mark Mangino was under Coach Snyder, and I think Coach Snyder at Kansas State's one of the greatest. He's turned that place around twice, and Bobby Stoops was underneath him and under Hayden Fry, and you just look at how they've recruited and developed and how tough their teams are. And I think that's a great heritage when you look at that group of people, and working for Coach Alvarez, he came from that group as well.
You guys stay healthy these last few days?
We did. It's been really good. The recovery part of the last week has been positive for the guys.
When you looked at the quarterback race, there's one part of...
Can't let it go.
No. This is more of a philosophical question, to borrow Joe's terms. Some quarterbacks, was it more focused on this is who's the best guy to beat William & Mary?
No.
Or was it more on this is who could be the best guy to lead us to the best record?
It was who was going to get the first start. That's all it was. And it's a long season, like I said. I expect both of them to play. And whoever starts this game is not necessarily the starter for the 2016 season. I think that's the thing you guys have to understand. They're both unproven quarterbacks that have a lot of ability, that work really hard, and have good skill sets. So it's a different situation than we were in last year. Last year, you had an experienced guy and an inexperienced guy. We don't have that right now. We need both these guys to develop, and they're not going to always be great. I mean, that's not how it works. When you go out there, you don't always play great. The defense sometimes does a good job. So how do they respond when they don't play well? And all those things are going to matter.